Let go. Be afraid. You all taste so much better when you're afraid. Here's your look at the new NECA toys, It the Movie. This is Pennywise the Clown. Seven friends engage a struggle with a demon they first encountered 30 years earlier in their main hometown. This new release of Pennywise includes Balloon, Tentacle Hand, Monster Hand, Grabbing Hands, Book, and 3 all-new Interchangeable Heads. Okay, cats and kitties, ready for another review? I'm ready for another review. Have you noticed that I've been doing a whole lot of NECA stuff as of late? Just goes to show that there's a lot of cool NECA stuff coming out right now in comic book stores, and even like the convention exclusives. There's a whole lot of cool stuff coming from NECA Toys. Having a look, though, at Pennywise the Clown, don't want to get sidetracked here. The figure stands rather impressively at 7.2 inches in height, which works out in centimeters to be 18, almost 18 and a half. Not quite there, but almost there, almost there. 18.3 centimeters to be exact. Full disclosure, by the way, the figure doesn't come with that clear display stand. Just want to stress this. Did venture out and invest in some much-needed new NECA figure display stands. I know these have been out for a while, but I have really kind of delayed myself getting them, really utilizing the smaller black stands you probably see me so frequently using on this on these reviews. But boy, oh boy, these clear stands are something quite a feat. What I like about them, and even though we're not really reviewing the clear stands in this review, I like the fact that they get a very wide base to it. That means even figures as top heavy, because this guy is pretty heavy, like Pennywise, can stand completely fine. But again, just want to stress this, that the figure doesn't come included with this clear display stand. He does come out, however, with a whole bunch of cool accessories. Yes, he has lots of cool accessories. We'll have a look at those right now. This is technically, again, the second Pennywise that we've gotten from the 1990 Stephen King It miniseries that was on TV. One of my earliest entries, actually, into horror films, if you can actually believe it. If you don't really want to count the miniseries as a film, but I guess you could still consider miniseries being a film. Certainly one of my earliest memories of getting into horror films. I can't even believe I was watching it, or the fact that my parents let me watch that, but I got cool parents. Okay, so let's have a look at the accessories that come included with the figure. Now, we're going to do some comparisons because, like I said, this was the second outing for Pennywise. We already got one before, and don't worry, we'll do some much-needed comparisons. Let's have a look at the accessories, and I want to really start. No, I'm not going to start that one. Not going to start. I want to start with the thing I'm really interested in. But we'll start with still something quite interesting. He does come with the yellow balloon. This one says, don't turn back now. It's pretty much the same style of balloon. I would be not surprised to find that this is the exact same balloon mold that NECA Toys have utilized for the new Pennywise clown. And then also, of course, the earlier Pennywise, the first outing of Tim Curry's Pennywise, also had a whole bunch of balloons. But this one just has one lone yellow balloon, speaking volumes, in fact, to you, the viewers, to tell you to turn back now. Not necessarily turning back away from this review. By all means, feel free to watch the rest of this review. But just a neat-looking accompanying piece. Like I said, the earlier Pennywise the Clown didn't come with this balloon. He came with various different colors, didn't come with the one that said turn back now. Somewhat menacing presence. Anyways, we're going to move that to the side. By the way, it does have a wireframe, and there is a supplied hand. It's this one right here that holds the wire. Now this one does, I will say, this one here was intended, I think, for the one that had the multiple balloons. as a result of it, it does sit rather loose. I mean, you could kind of bend the wire a little bit so it catches on itself, but there's nothing really kind of holding it in place. As a result, the hand just sort of slides up and down the wire of the balloon string. It's not really any other means to hold it. I guess you could probably tie it off around his wrist as well. Okay, so we'll put that to the side. The thing I wanted to talk about first, and I did want to talk about like the balloon first because I thought ultimately, you know, I would be more excited about this. He does come with the book, a really neat element that NECA would incorporate to this. This is one of the benefits of getting the second editions or like the multiple releases after the fact. NECA can kind of go back to the drawing board and think, yo, wait a minute. We had all these other cool ideas, maybe that we initially had planned for the first Pennywise and just abandoned. Or then after the fact, somebody said, hey, how about that picture of Pennywise where he's reaching out at you? How about we include that? And this would, of course, be the benefit of getting then the new release because it has other stuff in it that the original one didn't come included. Look at that. That is so cool. It doesn't even look like, I mean, it looks like this actually would have paper to it. I can tell you, though, it doesn't flip. There's nothing on it. That is a paper element. I guess this is a label or sticker. It looks like it is just a sticker. But that's neat. What a really neat, impactful image, the fact that you can actually see this as a two-dimensional image becoming a three-dimensional image, reaching out and grabbing your soul. There's what the back of the book looks like. Put that to the side. Comes also with some interchangeable hand options. One just being a spread out version of his clown glove hand, just kind of a dynamic pose, I suppose. And then also one where it's the somewhat monster hand, where you can see he's now got fingerless gloves only because the sharp talons of his claws are peeking their way out from the fabric of his gloves. Just a really neat design, something which we never got with the original Pennywise. Thank goodness we get it now in the second release. Something I probably would consider displaying the figure with. I'm probably going to do some swapping out of stuff too, so if you feel like you want to spend a little bit more time on this is maybe you want to commit a little bit more to this relationship. Don't end it so quickly. You want to like nurture this relationship. We'll kind of go back and talk about that a little bit as well. And then he also has the Tentacle Hand. The Tentacle Hand, really neat design. Kind of going back to something I had mentioned in the, not this Pennywise, but the rebooted Pennywise figure. I had mentioned in the one that had the spider legs, I called it crab legs. And I think the only reasoning why I said that at the time was I was looking online and I found a couple of sites that actually described it as being crab legs. Just want to kind of omit that, of course, from the annals of this reviewing channel. Of course, they're spider legs. More importantly, we don't really even see yet what happens with Chapter 2, but we can most definitely base it from the miniseries that things will be ultimately resulting in likely an encounter with a giant spider. In the meantime, though, we kind of get a Tentacle Hand. This is actually the description that NECA uses on the back of their packaging. Perhaps a precursor to what we would eventually see, one of the many forms that it can take, one being of giant spiders. So just a really neat kind of claw that they've done a dry brushing. They've added some gray in there to an otherwise beige hand. It just looks fantastic. It does also come with part of the sleeve, just a greater opening for the sleeve. So let me show you how that will work. I guess I don't really need this clear display stand anymore. Good investment. Good investment. If you have some extra money, kind of throw. I don't have these at my local stores, so I ended up having to order those online. But one of the best investments I've had in last month or so. We're going to go ahead and take the hand off. Lots of investments happening on this channel. We're going to go ahead and take the sleeve. The sleeve sort of just drapes itself over top of the existing sleeve. You could do your best, of course, to try to line everything up so that stripes match stripes, and it does look like it's supposed to be part of it, but it seems like it conforms kind of to this part of the sleeve. Anywhere else kind of feels like it doesn't quite line up, like the shape at least doesn't line up. So we just kind of put it right there, hold it, and then we'll just put the Tentacle Hand in its socket, and you got this. How cool is that? The answer is quite cool. Look at that. That's so, I love that. And, you know, really, when you look at it too, that sleeve does a pretty decent job of blending in, providing you have it twisted just right. It looks like it's elongated the opening for the sleeve, and it still looks like it's supposed to be part of the existing figure's sleeve. Nicely done. Nicely done. We're going to go ahead and take that off, because I do feel like that's going to be a little cumbersome. And actually, while we're also at it, because I told you, don't leave a relationship so quickly. Let it nurture. Let it grow naturally. Go back and discuss, once again, the monster hand. Again, a precursor perhaps to the Tentacle Hand. Also a precursor maybe to what the eventually would be fighting near the end of the film. Just a really great, fun thing that you can have swappable option-wise for a lot of these NECA pieces. We're going to go ahead and put the hand back into place. There we go. And we'll have a look at the other things that come included with the figure. Now, I guess while we're holding the figure, the other thing that we can certainly most definitely talk about is his other interchangeable heads. Now, I guess before we do that, here I am kind of shuffling my duties and responsibilities all around, but I want to bring in the original Pennywise, the Tim Curry Pennywise, just to show you what the figures look like side by side. There's not really too much different, honestly speaking, when you look at the two of them. They look like they're very much the same figure. Well, they are. The only thing that seems from my little eye, I do have a smaller eye after all, is the fact that the yellow, some of the colors seem like they're a little bit more vibrant. Even if you look at the sleeve striping, while maybe not the purple changes too much, most drastically changed, though, is the green. The green gets a little bit more of a metallic sheen on the new release versus the original release here. The vest is a little bit darker. The contrast of colors seem a little bit more profound. And then most definitely, like the coloring of the yellow also seems a little warmer, a little bolder on the new release versus the original release of Pennywise here to the left. And there's what it looks like on the back of the figure. Other than that, like I said, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot that's been changed to it. It just seems like it's been enriched, blessed with better colors, more vibrant colors. Now, the thing about the original Pennywise, as great the figure as it was, the one thing I did notice, and it might have even mentioned in that review, was he had decent head portraits, and I'll show you those right now. We had, like, of course, remembering the stern, kind of unhappy Pennywise. We had the laughing Pennywise, and all of which can be swapped out by a ball joint. I'll show you that in a second as well. Then we had one of the scarier faces. It's this one here. Ooh, what a mug. Remember that head portrait there as well. And then the other head that came included with the first, now I have to stress that this is the first Pennywise, was this one here, where it had, this is battery acid all over the face. Of course, when he took the inhaler and sprayed it to the side of Pennywise's face. So those were all the original head portraits. And I'm almost certain, I would have to go back and watch the video again, certain that in that video, the one thing I commented on, as good as the sculpt was on all of the portraits, I really just wanted a laughing or smiling Pennywise. We did get laughing Pennywise. I guess we could count that off. We could check that off our list, our bucket list of requirements for Pennywise. But we never really got just a smiling Pennywise. Introducing Lady Claims, we've got ourselves the smiling Pennywise for the second release. Now, it's not to say that you can't very well use any of the head portraits that we had already used for this one, or this one here. You can mix and match them. We'll put the figures down for a second right here. I guess I really don't need necessarily the original Pennywise, but gosh darn it, he's such a great looking figure. We're going to go ahead and take him, put him on the display stand of this figure. We're going to put him right there. Don't go anywhere, Pennywise. Original Pennywise, you can stay right there, Mr. Man. And we're going to have a look at this one right here. Now, again, this one does have the smiling face, which that one didn't seem to have. Of the other portraits available on this release, you've got a variation to that smiling Pennywise face. Again, kind of filling in all those gaps. The beauty of all of the Pennywise figures, both this and the remake, all benefited from every single new release that NECA Toys would hit the shelves with, would have a subsequently new head portrait that you could then use for the original figures. So if you wanted to use this one for this figure, there's nothing to say. That's not blasphemy. You shouldn't lose friends over the idea of mixing those out. You can really do that if you wanted to. And then the other head portrait, which I really like this one as well, is like the I'm going to eat you, very scary looking representation of Pennywise. There's that one there as well. Now, any one of the head portraits, like I said, can be swapped for either figure. It's just a case of grabbing the collar, because that's always going to be the thing that wants to go along with it. Go for the journey. You want to just hold on to that, just pop that off like so. I still wonder why NECA Toys didn't utilize the new cylinder peg system that they're using for all of their figures. Pennywise is one of the latest entries I can still think of that still utilize ball joints. Maybe some of it has to be contributed to the fact that he's a heavier figure. I don't really know what the reasoning is for that. But needless to say, if you want to take any one of the other head portraits, you're just going to put that back onto the ball joint. And if you don't get it the first time, most definitely you can always entertain the idea of heating up the ball sockets in hot water. Just kind of soften the socketed areas, and then you can fit it on the ball joint just a little bit easier. That's what that head portrait looks like. And then we'll go ahead and put on this head portrait. Funny enough, though, is that these two don't look that much different from one another. It's almost as if, other than I guess the eyes are a little bit bigger, the smile is probably just, yeah, the smile is just a little bit bigger as well. There's, I guess, enough difference between the two to warrant the idea of including both. And when it's all said and done, when you add up everything for yourself, you're getting yourself a total of 7 heads. That's between this guy and this guy right here. We'll move this Pennywise now out of the way because we've already had a look at him in the previous review. I'm going to slide this one over. And you know what? I'm going to put this head portrait, this head sculpt, just back on. Only because this was the defaulted head, and it seems to have the widest socket, is probably the reason I think I'm going to keep that on for the rest of this review, just so that it's not going to pop off on me. Again, if you do struggle with the idea of getting these ones on, because I get it, I've been there. Just heat this, just submerge this in hot water. Just the bottom, you don't have to do the whole face. Just the bottom, just to soften up that area here, the outer rim, the outer ring there. And then once that's softer, pop it onto the ball joint immediately, and that should widen the gap right there. A tool of the trade, a trick of the trade. Okay, so let's have a look at the rest of Pennywise. Not really much to be said other than what we've already discussed. Pretty much the exact same figure. But again, really liking the upgrade of coloring. The metallic, not something that was there before. And I find, not that I missed it before, but now that I see it on this one, it does stand out a lot better. Just, again, fixing some of the things, the elements that maybe NECA wanted to change when they first did the figure. They wanted to realize after the fact, yeah, you know what, we could put some metallic green. Why not? It's kind of not quite green either. It's more like a teal. Something classic of a color for the 90s and late 80s. I loved teal back in the day. We don't get a lot of teal now anymore. He has the vest, which looks like it's actually made up of like florets and greenery. It looks like shrubbery and stuff like that. Of course, the pom-poms. The colorings are a little bit more all over the place for this particular Pennywise than the original, well, the remake Pennywise, which I just so happen to actually have. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I just had finished the review on the remake Pennywise, so we'll bring that one in just so you guys can see the difference between the two. Yeah, you've probably already seen the difference between these two before anyways, but just to show you what they look like. Very different and very... The idea then, once again, is with a remake, if you can take the original material and do something different with it, then all of a sudden you've got yourself a hit. Don't always need to feel the need to copy the original, which, of course, there's something to be said still scarily for the idea of Pennywise looking like just a regular clown. The other Pennywise stands out certainly leaps and bounds, stands out more than this guy right here. But this kind of looks like more of a clown that you would imagine at a carnival or circus. All the more reasoning why I don't like clowns. Let's have a look at this guy's posability. His head rotates back and forth. Now all of this again is sitting on the fact it's on a ball joint. While you are wiggling the head, you may find the head wanting to pop off periodically. Just want to go back and put that back where it belongs, put it back home. And the collar may shift around a lot in the process. It's just made up after all of soft plastic. The shoulders hinge outward, and you can rotate these all the way around. You can bend at the elbow. Actually, you can bend the arm in 2 places, but I've noticed there seems to be a trend for a lot of the NECA figures that I've been picking up lately. Seems like all the joints are really, really tight. Good job, especially for molds that have been reused, like the remake Pennywise. Still, all the joints still seem really quite tight. And I don't know what it is that NECA is doing that other companies seem to struggle with. The idea of going back and reusing the molds. Of course, there's always the idea of mold degradation, where molds, after a while, the joints get really, really loose. And the production of each of the figure after the fact always get less and less. NECA still seems, based on even using like this mold, that all the joints are very, very tight on this guy. Hands rotate all the way around, and they also not quite hinge back and forth. There's a mild hinge. You can see the hinge joint right there. At the beginning of this review, I kind of did that pose, you know, where he's waving. He's just kind of, yeah, I'm gonna eat you, kind of wave. I like that. Upper torso is on a ball joint. The camera is not agreeing with me in this review. Legs split out. They go forward, they go back. He does have a bend at the knee, which also allows the lower leg to rotate back and forth. The feet also have a rotation back and forth and hinge up and down. Due to likely the cause of the feet being so small and the top of his body being so big and so heavy, does cause the figure to have some toppling issues. As you can see right there, I think it's just the way that the feet are posed, and also for the fact that he's got the cuffs at the bottom of his legs, sort of being the contributor as well. He's a very heavy figure. He's actually one of the heaviest, I think, of a 7-inch figure. Now, of course, NECA has done a whole bunch of bigger, meaner looking figures, but for, I think, the 7-inch variety, Pennywise has to be one of the heaviest figures that they've produced. A whole lot of plastic gets put into this guy, and the end result, even though we have already gotten a Pennywise before, is still a really decent release. And with all the extra things that he had that the other one didn't have, all the more reasoning why you would want to pick this one up as well. While some may see a second helping of Pennywise to be unnecessary, I am really from the school that a second helping gives companies like NECA Toys an opportunity to add things that weren't available in the initial release. If this was simply just a case where Pennywise got extra accessories and keeping the same head portraits, that would be one thing. But NECA Toys is never all about just re-releasing a figure unless they have other plans, other things that they can throw into the mix. Pennywise here with all the extra head options. To think he's got an extra 3 heads over top of the other 3 heads that came included with the first figure release. Or actually it was four heads. So again, we get 7 interchangeable head options. It does mean, though, that there's a whole lot of customization that you can do with your Pennywise, ultimately maybe leading down the road, and I've been down that road myself, of wanting to pick up another figure just so I can just make use of some of the great head sculpts, for example, and the accessories. Sometimes doesn't work just enough with the one figure they come included with. There's always that tease that it's like, you know what? I kind of like this look for Pennywise, maybe like I've got going right now for final looks. But I also kind of like smiling Pennywise as well. And I like acid burn Pennywise. And you can quickly see how you can go down the rabbit hole quite fast. NECA Toys, like I said, has re-released this Pennywise. We have gotten this one before, but don't let the fact that this be a second re-release, a second helping of Pennywise, kind of deter you, as you can hopefully see, and hopefully reviews like this have helped to show you that there's enough merits. And there's a whole lot of extra goodies that NECA threw into this second helping of the evil clown known as Pennywise. Again, I think to warrant picking him up a second go around. I would even think and entertain the idea that going back and watching the miniseries again, which could be quite easily something I could accomplish in the next day or so. Maybe I'll even watch it tonight, now that I'm getting that itch to watch another It. But I could probably watch that miniseries again and still be able to pick out things like, oh, that could be something that NECA could do for a future figure. Or why don't they use that different head expression? I'm sure NECA's probably thinking the exact same thing as well. And if they do subsequently then release a third Pennywise, most definitely I'll be picking that one up as well. Still a great looking figure. He does have the problem with being very heavy. So I would say Maybe take the same cues that this humbled reviewer has done and bought himself display stands for displaying the figure, because he is going to have some tough time standing upright. And I'm still not sure why they utilized old ball joint systems when I think peg joints, that new cylinder peg, I think would have worked just as well and would make things just a lot easier for changing out the heads. Either way, though, if you guys manage to pick up this one for yourself, let me know what you guys think of the second helping of Pennywise. I'm not going to call it that in the title, but you guys know what I mean. Or based on this review, and this review alone, let me know what you guys think of the second version of Pennywise from the 1990 Stephen King It miniseries. Also, while you're at it and you're new to this channel, maybe you are new to this channel, or on the other end of that, on the other end of the scale, maybe you're a longtime viewer, maybe you've been watching this channel religiously for like the last 5-6 years. Thank you for that, by the way. But maybe along that way, you just never got around to hitting that subscribe button. Make today your goal. Make today be that thing that you can accomplish. Hit that subscribe button down below, and also swing on over to your next door neighbor. Stop on by, because they're really good at making freshly squeezed lemonade. Freshly squeezed lemonade, and especially a hot day like today, could certainly, boy oh boy, that could really hit the spot. But swing on over to your next door neighbor, turn on that bell notification so that when future videos are coming onto this channel, you'll never miss out. You want to also check out some other previously looked at NECA releases? Well, I mean, there's also a playlist on this channel as well. Shameful plug for some of the multitudes of different videos that I've done on this channel. But if NECA is your fancy, feel free to get a gander at my NECA playlist for all the stuff that I've reviewed up to this point, and all future videos will be going there as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.